Hello, I'm Michelle Martin, Manager of Accessible Transportation Services in the Transit Division with the City of Hamilton. Thank you for joining us today at our first ever combination virtual and live meeting for our annual Accessibility Information event. I'd like to begin with our land acknowledgement. The City of Hamilton is situated upon the traditional territories of the Erie, Neutral, Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and Mississaugas. This land is covered by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, which was an agreement between the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabeg to share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. We further acknowledge that this land is covered by the Between the Lakes Purchase 1792 between the Crown and the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. Today, the City of Hamilton is home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, North America, and we recognize that we must do more to learn about the rich history of this land so that we can better understand our roles as residents, neighbors, partners, and caretakers. We are beginning this evening with a formal presentation panel, which is being live streamed to the City of Hamilton YouTube channel. After the formal panel, we will break out into small group discussions, which will not be filmed. However, we will be summarizing the discussion topics and film the summaries later to add to the archived video. We were unable to access an ASL interpreter on site, so we are projecting our ASL interpreter here from the live stream. For the small roundtable discussions later, we will have access to captioning and we can continue to access ASL interpreters remotely, so please let us know if you need this accommodation after the formal panel finishes. On our panel today, I am joined by Asniv Mallet, Chair, Advisory Committee for Persons with Disabilities, City of Hamilton, Owen Quinn, Project Manager, Customer Loyalty Programs in the Transit Division, and Jay Adams, Senior Project Manager of Transit Customer Experience in the Transit Division. We would like to thank Cable 14 for their assistance in bringing this live recording to you. We would also like to thank our Canadian Hearing Services interpreters and captioners. I'm very happy to introduce Maureen Cousin-Heath, Director of Transit with the City of Hamilton, to provide our opening remarks.
Thank you, Michelle, for that warm introduction. Good afternoon. I am Maureen Cousin-Heath, and I'm pleased to be the Director of Transit for the Hamilton Street Railway at the City of Hamilton. HSR understands that you rely on us to provide you dependable service to get you where you want to go on time. Accessible public transit has a direct impact on our customers' economic and academic opportunities, enables access to supports and services that they need to lead a healthy and active life, and affects the overall quality of life. For this reason, it plays an important part in advancing our city's mission to be the best place to raise a child and age successfully. HSR strives to provide a customer-focused system that is safe, reliable, inclusive, and accessible. And we continue to make service improvements to this end. Today, HSR has a fully accessible fleet of 273 low-floor buses with features including onboard stop announcements, ramps, and kneeling features, and interior configurations designed for personal mobility devices. Our system also features accessible bus stops, and we are committed to ensuring that all future infrastructure upgrades meet the AODA standards. As we look ahead to 2023, HSR acknowledges that we have a lot of work to do on how to deliver a better quality of accessible transit services in Hamilton, arising from the work performed by the Office of the City Auditor. We have committed to a re-envision exercise for accessible transportation to garner an even greater understanding of the service that you want and need. Although there is much work ahead, there is also a very unique opportunity to build up better and a more effective service to meet your travel needs, and ultimately work towards even greater integration between conventional and specialized transit, and ultimately connectivity to the LRT, which will operate in our city shortly. It is through integrated services that allow our customers maximum travel choice that will help us ensure you can get where you need to go with as much flexibility and independence as possible. Thank you very much for joining us today and for your valuable feedback and questions that we will respond to. Thank you.
Thanks, Maureen. And now we'll
Thank you. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome. And Maureen, the words you said were music to my ears. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing all of that happen. It's my pleasure today to talk about Transportation Working Group, which is a committee working group, I should say, of ACPD, which stands for Accessibility Committee for Persons with Disabilities. The Transportation Working Group is a group that works solely and intimately with transportation issues within the City of Hamilton. I'd like to give you an overview of what we do in that little group and how we approach our goals. But first, I'll tell you a bit about the larger committee, the Accessibility for Persons with Disabilities Committee. Although we are one of many advisory groups for the City of Hamilton, we are really special and unique in that we are legislated to be part of a subcommittee of the City Council. So we work with people with disabilities, for people with disabilities, and we do it in a way that we're legislated, as I said, provincially, and we do it for the Human Rights Code as well as the AODA, which stands for Accessibility Ontarians with Disabilities Act. So ACPD identifies the accessibility barriers and makes recommendations to City Council with regard to barrier removal and prevention in compliance with the AODA. The Transportation Working Group is one of 6 working groups under the ACPD umbrella and focuses, as I said, on transportation, such as public transportation, conventional and transportation, both conventional transportation and ATS/DARTs, including accessible taxis and all other modes of transportation affecting our population. And Hamilton has a higher than average population, mainly because we have a rehab center here, and we also have a regional trauma center. As a working group, the Transportation Working Group is reviewing the ODA compliance of public and specialized transportation. In 2023, we're thinking about tackling the amount rideshare companies pay to the city to not be accessible. We are all Hamiltonians working in this community to make the city more accessible. And we work towards the lens of the IDEA, Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Accessibility. If you are facing accessibility challenges, please talk to us or call us through the city. If the accessibility challenge is because of transportation or transit issues, the information will be transferred to the Transportation Working Group. All members of ACPD and the Transportation Working Group are passionate about accessible transportation and always eager to serve our community. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Owen Quinn, Project Manager, Customer Loyalty Programs with Accessible Transportation Services, also known as ATS. I'm going to provide you with an overview of how the HSR and ATS is meeting the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disability Act integrated accessibility standards as a transit provider. First of all, there's a requirement and purpose of this meeting under the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act, AODA. It requires conventional transportation providers, such as HSR, hold one public meeting annually. Also, conventional HSR and specialized transit services like ATS and DARTS Transit are to be addressed in the city's accessibility plan, which identifies, removes, and prevents barriers for persons with disabilities. Persons with disabilities have an opportunity to review and provide feedback on the accessibility of transit services. So this meeting will provide an update from transit staff on accessibility achievements to date and AODA compliance. With respect to the HSR, the accessible buses are existing for 100% of the fleet. Also, accessible bus shelters are in place to assist persons with disabilities. The AODA requires certain meetings through the plan. There's certain requirements that need to be in compliance. So HSR is currently compliant. First of all, fares. Fares for persons with disabilities must be the same or less than fares for persons without disabilities. Also, no fare is to be charged for a support person who is assisting a person with a disability. Pre-boarding announcements. There are automated electronic pre-boarding announcements which will identify the route, direction, destination, or next major stop. Other requirements are on-board announcements. So again, there's automated verbal announcements on all buses, and also electronic visual display boards which show destination points and stops while the vehicle is en route. So, other requirements for the conventional transit are general responsibilities such as deployment of lifting devices and ramps, and to ensure there's adequate time for persons with disabilities to board and disembark vehicles. Courtesy seating is another requirement, where clearly marked priority and courtesy seating on vehicles has to be identified for persons with disabilities. Another requirement is accessibility plans for conventional transit. So there has to be a process for managing and taking action on customer feedback, and a public meeting has to be held annually, such as this one today. Also, there have to be procedures in place to deal with accessibility equipment failures, so HSR is in compliance with that. And finally, bus stop and shelter design. So HSR does consult with the ACPD with respect to accessible bus stop design criteria, and also there has to be an identified action plan for accessible bus stops and shelters. So again, HSR is compliance in that area. With respect to specialized transit, this is the accessible transportation services portion of HSR. There's an eligibility and registration for services, which is completed by ATS. And trips are delivered by DARTS Transit, who are the city's contractor to deliver the on-street door-to-door service. And the DARTS fleet does include accessible vehicles with ramps. It also includes non-accessible vehicles for persons. With respect to the accessibility plan, there is AODA compliance for specialized transit. So for ATS and DARTS, there has to be categories of eligibility. There's 3 specific categories. So you have unconditional, so if the person is eligible for all trips on DARTS. There's temporary. The person may require it for a temporary measure, only for short term. And then there's conditional. So conditional covers like seasonal eligibility. So person would be eligible for trips during winter months. So also another requirement is fare parity. There has to be fare parity between conventional and specialized transit. Same fare structure, so that's in place. Also, for support persons, no fare is to be charged, similar to the HSR conventional transit. So, and also hours of service. So that's a requirement for the specialized transit as well. Must have the same hours and days of service as the conventional transit system. Another requirement is booking. So same-day service must be provided to the extent available. Also, accessible methods for reservations must be available. So DARTS does have online booking through their webpage, their website. Another requirement is coordinated service. So this is where you have connections between two specialized transportation providers in adjacent municipalities. So, but it's only where there's a contiguous urban area. So, for example, Hamilton and Burlington have an arrangement with respect to this cross-boundary travel. Accessibility plans for specialized transit, that's another area which has to be in compliance. So this would cover like a process for estimating demand and reducing wait times for service. It also, again, similar to HSR, DARTs have to have procedures to deal with accessibility equipment failures. So those are in place. Now today we are looking for comments and feedback. HSR will continue to accept surveys, comments, and feedback until November 30th. These can be submitted online. There's the Engage Hamilton platform. Engage.hamilton.ca is the webpage. Also, comments and feedback, they can be sent by email, ats@hamilton.ca. Also, comment cards and surveys are available at the HSR ticket office. That's the Hamilton Go Station, 36 Hunter Street East. And they're also available at all municipal service centers. And comment forms and surveys can be dropped off at all of these locations that I've mentioned previously, or they can be mailed. They can send them in the mail to Accessible Transportation Services, care of 71 Main Street West, Hamilton, Ontario, L8P4Y5. So with respect to next steps, if anyone requires a copy of the presentation from today, if they need it in an alternative format such as print or braille, you can contact ATS customer service. We'll gladly provide you one. You could call ATS at 905-529-1212 or send us an email, ats@hamilton.ca. HSR staff will review the comments received for consideration and action. And as I mentioned, this is an annual event, so the next public meeting will be held in 2023. And we thank you for listening to this presentation and for providing any comments or feedback.
Thanks, Owen. So back to me to give you an update from Accessible Transportation Services. Accessible Transportation Services, or ATS, are available to persons who, due to physical or functional limitations, are unable to use fixed-route HSR public transit. Based on information obtained through the ATS application process, ATS determines eligibility and registers passengers for door-to-door shared ride transit service provided by our contractor, DARTS, and for Taxi Scrip. ATS also provides ongoing customer care. We contracted DARTS to provide our door-to-door shared ride service, and DARTS provides reservations, dispatch, and trips. It is important to note, ATS eligibility for service includes all disabilities, not only physical ones. I'd like to explain a bit how the service works. DARTS functions as a shared ride transit service, which means passengers are not always the only person on board. And much like planning a conventional trip, you need to allow adequate time to reach your destination, as you may be on board for up to 1 hour. DARTs may arrive between 15 minutes before or 15 minutes after the pickup time requested, which is your negotiated pickup time. And drivers cannot wait more than 5 minutes for passengers to be ready to leave due to the other trips that also have to be provided. DARTs drivers assist passengers from door to door, but they don't provide onboard care. For example, they do not monitor or look after any medication or medical equipment that must travel with a person. They don't assist passengers beyond the accessible entrance of their destination. So, for example, DARTs drivers don't unlock a person's door or enter the home to assist them with anything inside the home. Because the service that is being provided is shared ride door-to-door transit. So a support person may be required for further assistance, and one support person may travel on DARTs vehicles for free with a registered passenger, as Owen spoke about. Medical certification for a support person must be registered in advance with ATS, and the support person must be capable of meeting the needs of the individual with a disability during travel and at their destination. So passengers who register as requiring a support person will need to be accompanied at all times by the support person and may not travel alone on DARTs vehicles. If a passenger can travel alone, but there is a safety risk for the passenger being left alone at their destination, ATS may register the passenger as do not leave unattended, and this means the passenger may travel independently on the DARTs vehicle. However, a capable person must be at every destination to receive the passenger, and that is somebody who is capable of providing the support that is required. So it's important for family members, people who provide support in the community to, when they're planning for trips, for people they support, or for family members, to remember all of these aspects of using the shared ride DARTs service. For more information about ATS and DARTs, please pick up a user guide. We've brought some here tonight. If we run out, please call ATS Customer Service at 905-529-1212 or email us at ats@hamilton.ca, and we can mail one out to you or email an electronic copy. Make sure you also pick up a copy of the HSR fares information, as the two items are usually mailed out together to all new ATS customers. You heard Owen speak about fare parity earlier. And so the fares are the same fare structure as the HSR. You can also find information about ATS on the City of Hamilton website at www.hamilton.ca/ATS. In the spring of 2022, we released an updated application form to clarify some wording to assist healthcare professionals to provide accurate information regarding travel support needs. We also worked with legal services and our corporate privacy specialist to ensure updated and clear language around the collection of consent to share information. We developed a shorter version of the updated application for residents of long-term care facilities. If you wish to submit an application for ATS for yourself or for someone else, please ensure the most up-to-date version is being used. ATS can't accept outdated applications for service, especially because we have updated all of this consent and collection of information language. There are two ways to access the most up-to-date version. You can call or email ATS Customer Service, and we will mail or email you the current form, or you can visit the ATS webpage and print it directly from there. If you are not sure that the version you have is the most up-to-date, please call ATS and ask us. In 2023, we will be implementing a plan to require regularly updated applications from all ATS customers using the service to ensure we have updated information, including for emergency contacts, travel needs, mobility devices, and of course, current consents to share information. So as Owen described, under the fare parity regulation of the AODA, fare for travel on DARTs vehicles is the same as on the HSR, and all DARTs vehicles except Presto. For the 2022 municipal election, we were pleased to be able to provide free trips on darts to polling stations for voting. For up-to-date fare information, please refer to the HSR webpage at www.hamilton.ca/HSR, or you can call ATS. A little bit about current COVID-related service adjustments on darts. We have returned earlier this year to full vehicles, so we no longer have vehicle capacity limits, and we have returned to booking 7 days in advance. Mask requirements for accessible transportation services customers traveling on darts vehicles will remain in place until further notice out of an abundance of caution. Clients will not be denied a trip if they are unable to wear a mask or face covering due to a listed exemption. Before I turn over to Jay, I just want to take a minute to make sure everyone knows how to contact us to provide feedback, including complaints and commendations, and also suggestions. Please reach out to our ATS customer care representatives at 905-529-1212 or ats@hamilton.ca to let us know. All valid complaints are logged and tracked for trends. Our customer care team does immediate trip-related investigation using the same database that DARTS uses to deliver trips, and where warranted, they process to DARTS for further investigation. If your complaint is trip-related, please provide as much information as you can: time of day, location of vehicle, day of the week. But if you don't think you have enough information, by all means call it in anyway, because the team is experienced and skilled at determining which trip it was by asking you some key questions. Having said that, it's always best to give us as much information as you can. And with that, I will turn it over to Jay.
Thank you, Michelle, and good evening, everyone. Good evening to those of you who are watching from home or on our YouTube channel. My name is Jay Adams, and I'm the Senior Project Manager of Customer Experience with the City of Hamilton's Transit Division, HSR. It's my pleasure to be here today to talk to you about, sorry, just doing a quick switch over here for our ASL interpretation. Wonderful, thank you. It's my pleasure to be here today to speak about some of the important and exciting initiatives that we have underway at HSR. My role at HSR is to understand our customers' needs, to look for opportunities to grow our ridership, and to provide advice on the design of our transit customer experience. Our goal at HSR is to make transit your first choice in transportation for Hamilton residents and visitors. We can do this by designing a service that is safe, welcoming, easy to use, accessible, and affordable for all residents of Hamilton. Just to share a little bit, I'm going to repeat some of what Owen mentioned about our conventional transit service, but just to share a bit of information about our service, HSR's fleet includes over 280 conventional buses, including several newly purchased buses that just hit the road this past fall. All our buses meet the requirements of the AODA with low floors and features that enable greater accessibility. Buses can kneel or lower to the curb and have ramps at the entrances to enable customers with personal mobility devices to board more easily. Buses also have priority seating areas toward the front of the bus that are designated for use by persons with disabilities. All HSR buses are equipped with automated stop announcement system that provides both internal and external next stop announcements and destinations. This assists customers who have visual or hearing disabilities or who have difficulty recognizing their location. The bus speakers will announce that the approaching bus stop, and the LED sign will visually display the stop name. If the automated system stops working, operators will call out the stops. The bus will also be removed from service for repairs as soon as possible. Our service is also provided by over 600 bus operators who receive extensive customer service training. Part of that training includes instructions for how to provide great customer service to persons with disabilities and for those who travel using a personal mobility device. Service animals are always welcome aboard our buses. Proper identification should be visible or provided as needed. In addition to expanding and replacing our buses, a major focus for our service this year and over the next several years is implementing significant capital investments to ensure as many of our 2,700 stop locations, 600+ shelters, and several terminal locations remain accessible and compliant with AODA requirements for making public transit fully accessible by 2025. Customers can plan their trips using one of several tools in our HSR Now suite of products. This includes getting trip information by phone, text message, online, and using a mobile app. We also provide printed schedule information, which is available upon request. 2022 was an important year for our service, with many significant investments that will improve transit service today and into the future. Through Hamilton City Council's ongoing support of the 10-year local transit strategy, which is now in year 7, many transit service enhancements were made this year. This included the expansion of late evening and all-day Saturday service on the North-South A line connecting the Bayfront, West Harbour GO Station, and the airport, with express transit service 6 days a week. In addition, with significant investments from the federal, provincial, and municipal governments, the city will build a new maintenance and storage facility in the North End and invest in new technology to accommodate the continued growth of our fleet and our service over the next several years. The city continues to work closely with Metrolinx to support the construction and eventual launch of the city's east-west LRT service, which will eventually form the backbone of the city's public transit network. As a result of these projects, many physical changes are taking place to our transportation network, and accessibility for persons with disabilities is always a critical success factor. 2022 also continued to be a challenging year as we responded to and recovered from the pandemic. In January, our service once again had to be adjusted due to the rise of COVID-19 cases in the community and among our workforce. Transit implemented many safety precautions to ensure buses remain safe for customers and our staff, including following all public health guidance and increasing cleaning and disinfecting procedures. Throughout spring and into summer, there was a return to regular service levels. In June, the province lifted the mandatory masking requirements for settings including public transit. Today, customers are welcome to continue wearing masks if they choose. The pandemic continues to impact public transit ridership, and our ridership is continuing to recover. We provide information and communications to our customers to update them about all the efforts we're taking to ensure public transit remains safe and strong. To help with our recovery of ridership, the city implemented several fare incentives in 2022. As always, traveling with Presto is the best way to ensure our customers pay the lowest fare available to them. To make it more affordable for young families to travel on transit, transit is now free for children ages 6 to 12 who have a child Presto card. This pilot program is in place until April 30th, 2023. As part of a donation from the community, free Presto cards are also available for children at Hamilton Public Library branches across the city. In addition, during the months of June, July, and August, youth ages 13 to 19 could travel for half the regular youth price with Presto. HSR's loyalty program was also enhanced. Until December 31st, customers who take 8 paid trips in a single week using Presto card can travel for free on transit for the rest of the week. A key focus of our work is providing customer education to help make it easier for residents to make transit their first choice. One of our campaigns in 2022 was focused on providing education to all customers about how they can support their fellow passengers who have disabilities. The campaign, called Enabling Change, was developed collaboratively by several transit agencies belonging to the Ontario Public Transit Association. HSR implemented this educational campaign through onboard ads and digital communications. The campaign included information about priority seating areas and provided tips on how to be aware of the accessibility needs of your fellow passengers, including those who may have invisible disabilities. We plan to continue and expand this educational program further over the coming months. Ongoing consultations with the Advisory Committee for Persons with Disabilities have also been very valuable to the improvement of our transit customer experience. The ACPD, as Asniv mentioned, provides regular input into the development of our policies and programs. We were very pleased to host members of the ACPD for a workshop at our Mountain Transit Centre, where we explored the accessibility features of our recently purchased buses and discussed the importance of consistent and comprehensive training for our operators to enable persons with disabilities to ride easily, comfortably, and safely. We are also pleased to participate in the recent accessibility fair that took place at Hamilton City Hall, where we learned more about the accessibility needs of our customers and experienced firsthand some of the challenges that our customers encounter, especially for those who use personal mobility devices when they travel. We greatly value this partnership with ACPD and the feedback that we receive from its members. And finally today, I'd like to provide an update on the Re-envision the HSR initiative. Re-envision seeks to grow ridership, transform our customer experience on transit, and help the City of Hamilton realize its vision to be the best place to raise a child and age successfully. Great transit makes for great livable cities and healthy quality of life for all. After extensive staff, customer, and community engagement with 13,000 stakeholders so far, HSR has adopted 6 guiding principles that set the foundation for how we will deliver transit in the City of Hamilton. One of those guiding principles is that HSR will honor equity, diversity, and inclusion, which includes accessibility and the removal of barriers on transit, whether they're physical, informational, educational, emotional, or situational. HSR has identified over 86 action plans that will be implemented in 2023 and beyond, including several related to this important guiding principle. As Re-envision continues toward the eventual reconfiguration of our transit network, we continue to demonstrate our commitment to community outreach. Throughout this summer and fall, HSR teams attended 20 public events. We met thousands of people of all ages and abilities at festivals, seniors organizations, secondary schools, and post-secondary schools in the Hamilton Public Library. HSR values, as Michelle mentioned, feedback that we receive from our customers. Your feedback is always what helps us improve our quality of our customer experience for everyone who uses transit, whether they travel every day or even only occasionally. Our customer service team is available in person, by phone, and by email during regular business hours to answer questions. We're also available to receive feedback or complaints about our service, including any ways that we can make our service more accessible for you. We also appreciate receiving commendations for our operators when they deliver exceptional customer service, and we welcome complaints regarding any negative experiences that may occur. Information about our conventional service is available on our website at hamilton.ca/HSR. And with that, I thank you for your time, and I'll hand it back to Michelle.
Thanks, Jay. And I want to remind everybody that all of those wonderful Presto fare incentives that Jay spoke about are also available to ATS customers who are paying with Presto when they take darts for their trips. So we've been accepting survey responses and other feedback leading up to this meeting, and we will continue to accept feedback following tonight's presentation until September 30th, as Owen already mentioned. There are some longer surveys if you'd like to complete one or bring one home to complete and mail it back to us on the table back there. There are some comment cards as well if you just want to make a little note, send us a little note. That's also great. Following this, we will compile results and provide them to the advisory committee for persons with disabilities. Following this, we'll take a 10-minute break, and then everyone who is in the room here is welcome to join us for roundtable discussions at one of 3 stations, one for advisory committee for persons with disabilities, one for HSR, and one for ATS and DARTS. I want to thank the panelists this evening for their excellent presentations. I want to thank Director Cousin-Heath for joining us this evening. I want to thank everyone here for taking some time out to participate in this event. And to everyone watching at home, thanks for joining us and have a great evening.